Hey guys, I'm John, and in this video we're going to find out how ace I think this is. So guys, in this video what I'm going to do is give you my review of Batman The Long Halloween Part 1 of the animated movie. So, this film is based on the 1996 13-part story comic that came out and told a year-long story in the life of an early Batman. And what they've done is similar to how they did with The Dark Knight Returns. They've split it into two movies, just pretty much to give justice to the story. By condensing that massive sort of story comic into one movie would have just been a bit of a disservice to what was there. Batman The Long Halloween is renowned as one of the better Batman stories out there that has been. And I have read it I read it years ago. And I've read it again recently just to catch up, just really to compare if the animated film differs any more from the source material, or if it does follow like a similar storyline. So I've sort of caught up on that, watched part 1, so I'm just going to give you guys my thoughts on it. So as I say, Batman The Long Halloween follows an early Batman starting his career, so in a way it's a bit of an unofficial sequel to Batman Year One. It was never sort of linked directly, but it was just because it shows an early Batman, The Long Halloween sort of stood there, and it still shows a Gotham being run mainly by the mob and criminals and underworld and that kind of stuff, rather than like sort of the supervillains that become the norm of current Batman comics. So it follows like the Falcones and the Maronis and all that, and sort of how these crime families are the ones that run Gotham, and how they control everything. So Batman's trying to fight against this sort of corruption in the city, trying to sort of do right for what his parents started before they died. Now, with The Long Halloween, it all starts by there's a new killer in town. So somebody comes in, starts offing people on certain holidays or American holidays, and it all starts on Halloween, which is where the title comes from. And they always leave sort of a weapon and a souvenir that is reminiscent of that holiday. So it starts off and it's the gun and a jack-o'-lantern. That's what's left at the scene of the crime. So because this killer keeps killing on holidays, they get called the Holiday Killer. And because it's early in Batman's career, it sort of explores that facet of him learning to be a detective rather than a crime fighter. And the animated feature does actually sort of help to sort of justify that being a detective side of Batman, because obviously everybody now knows him as the Dark Knight Detective or the world's greatest detective or whatever they sort of dub him as. You know, he's always like a detective. But obviously when he first started, he thought that he could don cape and cowl and scare the criminals of Gotham into being good. You know, that was sort of persona of becoming more than a man, becoming a legend and something to be feared. And this film does a very good job of portraying sort of that aspect of Batman's career failing him and him sort of having to develop new skills. So, similar to how the Christopher Nolan movie The Dark Knight is, which obviously drew inspiration from the original comic, it shows how Batman, Jim Gordon and Harvey Dent form an alliance between themselves to help each other bring down this criminal faction of Gotham, and they all work together. They can sort of bend the law but never break it, and that's sort of the unwritten rule between them. As long as they don't break the law, they can do what needs to be done to bring justice to Gotham. And the dynamic between all three characters is really good, and it shows sort of how the relationship sort of forms and grows, and how they aid each other and work together. And it was really good how it sort of explores that sort of side of it. And then it's all about them trying to work out who's killing as well. So they're trying to bring down this crime family as well as work out who's offing them. So somebody keeps offing people in the Falcone Institute. So the Falcones are like the Corleones, man. And it's cool because they sort of refer to him as Godfather. So Carmine gets referred to as Godfather. He just needed a cat for his stroked. And it sort of shows that crime family being the best there is, and obviously they rule everything, they pay for everything, but for justice to be served, the crime family needs to be gone, and somebody is helping the good guys in a sense by offing them. So every holiday they get killed, so you obviously go through, like I say, Halloween's one, Thanksgiving's there, then Christmas is there, and then it's New Year, and those are sort of the four that are shown in part one of the movie, and it's them trying to figure out who it is and the false leads and all that, and you see Batman sort of keep accusing a number of people, and each one sort of like, not very good detective, are you? And Batman starts questioning himself. So, and it was really good to see that dynamic of Batman sort of unsure of himself in his early career. So the visuals in this are really good. So it's up there with the standard of your typical DC animated movies. So the DC animated movies are exceptionally good. So for some reason DC gets their animated movies spot on, where the live action movies kind of suck. They really do pale in comparison to the animated. It seems like they've got all the creative minds from DC working on the animated features, and then like the live action movies, they just let anybody go for it. That's not saying I don't like the animated, the live action movies. I do like the live action movies, or some of them. I just don't feel like they're of a quality standard to what the animated movies are. The animated movies really do excel at storytelling and character building and just overall just quality, man. And they've always done it since like the first animated movies they've done. I mean, even going back to like things like Public Enemies, when they did Batman Superman Public Enemies and things like that. That's just one of the early ones. Even going through to like doing these revised ones, like doing The Dark Knight Returns, or even doing Batman Hush, which I like what they did with Batman Hush. I like that they changed it up a little bit, but I was a bit disappointed with some of the changes they made in it. The Batman Turtles film was amazing. It differed from the books. The books established one thing. The film's different. And it's good that DC do this. Like some of the better ones they've done, like the better ones are like the Flashpoint Paradox. The Flashpoint Paradox animated movie is a must see for any DC fan. It is an incredible film, and it just makes me wonder how they get the animated film so right and the live action one's not quite right. I think they just try and compete with Marvel a little bit too much on the movie franchise, that they don't put as much work, they're a bit rushed. Whereas the animated movies, there's a lot of time put into them, a lot of effort, and they're just really good, like exceptionally good. And the quality on offer is very good as well. So like I say, the animation in this is just incredible. It's got quite a lot of thick black lines drawn through it that just sort of highlight the characters and all that. It's got good colour saturation and everything. The depiction of Gotham is good. It's also got that 1940s vibe that the animated series had, which is just quality, man. I love Batman the Animated Series. It's like one of those classic series, and this sort of captures the essence of that feel of Gotham. And everything's really good. The fight choreography in it's excellent. When Batman's fighting in it, the way it's animated is just amazing. The way he moves and everything, and some of the way techniques he uses, and the fact that they animate all this, it's just incredible, and it's just amazing to watch. And I really do. I look forward to these animated movies. They are just so good. And like all the character designs in this are really good. I really like Batman's suit. It looks like it's got armor on the cowl and everything, and that was really cool. And it was just like Catwoman's suit's a very classic suit, and it just looked really cool when you see them together and that. And it was just a really well animated, really well designed film on a visual front. It was very pleasing visually. It's quite a dark film because it's Batman. Batman's always dark films. But the sort of, it didn't detract from anything. There was good lighting throughout, so everything was quite clear and what was going on. So I was really impressed overall visually with how it looked. On the sound front, the sound in this was incredible. They've got an amazing cast of voice actors in this that just elevate the characters to more than they should be. So the best example of this is Batman. So Batman in this is voiced by Jensen Ackles, of Supernatural fame. You know, he's Dean Winchester, man. But in this, he plays Batman. Granted, there isn't a lot of sort of difference between his Batman and his Bruce Wayne on a sort of vocal front, but he still does an amazing job with it. He's very reserved with his voice when he's Batman, and he really sort of comes across and portrays sort of how Batman is, basically. You know what I mean? He just got he's got a cool Batman voice, man. Which is sort of, I mean, he's done other animated projects before. So he played the Red Hood in the Batman film Under the Red Hood, where he played Jason Todd, and he was excellent in that role. But in that one, he got a bit more of energetic vocals. Where in this one, he does pull himself back to be like that brooding sort of presence of Batman, and he does an amazing job. I hope to see him sort of reprise the Batman role in the future, because he really did do an awesome job of it throughout the whole film. Other standouts are Billy Burke as Commissioner Gordon. He was a really good Gordon, because Gordon in this is obviously portrayed as quite young, so he's just a captain in this. He hasn't quite reached commissioner status yet, so he's obviously still new to Gotham. But Billy Burke did a really good job of it, portraying sort of a police captain under a lot of sort of stress of being on the right side of the law and under a lot of corruption. So he did really well with that. Josh Duhamel played Harvey Dent, and he was excellent. He was one of the standouts. His Harvey Dent was incredible, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he takes the character in part 2, because sort of in the book, which is going to be a spoiler alert here if you haven't read the book, so be warned. The Long Halloween shows Harvey Dent's transformation into Two-Face. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how Josh Duhamel sort of portrays Two-Face as well as Harvey Dent, because his Harvey Dent is excellent, and I'm really looking forward to seeing in part 2 how he shows that side of him, like he portrays both sides of Two-Face and Harvey Dent. So I'm really looking forward to that. Hopefully he'll do well with that. The main returning character here is good old Troy Baker. Troy Baker's back to voice the Joker, and as always, he is an amazing Joker. He puts his own sort of spin on the Mark Hamill Joker, and he always does an amazing job of Joker. And I know a lot of people sort of think he pales in comparison to Mark Hamill, which Mark Hamill's amazing, don't get me wrong, but Troy Baker does, and always has done, an amazing Joker. Even going back to when he played him in the video game Arkham Origins, Troy Baker was incredible. And it always sort of makes me laugh, because in the Batman Turtles film, he plays both Batman and Joker. He plays both characters in the same film, which is kind of funny. But in this one, he doesn't. He's just the Joker. But everybody sort of really sort of pulls together to bring like top form to the voice acting. It was also cool to see Jack Quaid. He was obviously Huey in The Boys. He comes back to play Alberto Falcone, so Carmine's son, and his sort of goofy manner really added to that character, because he is a bit of an outcast in the Falcone family, and somebody like Jack Quaid as he plays a bit of an outcast in The Boys, but does it well, and he sort of brings that sort of charm into this with his voice alone. So he was quite a cool character. Only had a small part in it, but he was really cool in it. The overall sound design as well is just incredible. Sort of the ambience of Gotham City compared to all like the fighting when everything's happening and just everybody sort of working together was amazing. And the score was incredible. It was quite a mellow, somber score, but it just added atmosphere to something that was already quite atmospheric from its visuals. And overall just sort of completed the package. And on voice and a sound, it is absolutely awesome and really sort of test your system if you crank it up, and it just sounds incredible. I was really impressed with it overall, and like I say, the voices, yeah, Jensen Ackles was an absolute standout in this. He really did well with it. So guys, that's a bit of a look into my thoughts on it. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. So the story was good. It didn't detract too much from the source material. Some bits were, so things like the people that sort of Falcone sends after Harvey Dent after his interference has slightly changed from the Irish to a Triad gang, but still worked well because when the Triads faced Batman, it sort of added more of a dynamic from a fighting sort of point of view, so I sort of like that change. Sort of showed a different side of Batman's fighting, so how he's got a martial arts side, and these Triads sort of help to sort of bring that to front, so I kind of like that change. And then the other real big change for me was the very end of this particular film, so the New Year killing. So when the New Year killing happens in the book, I don't can tell you this, but when it happens in the book, this person gets killed and then the body gets discovered. But in the movie, there are witnesses to the murder. And the way that they die in the animated film was far cooler and a little bit more gruesome than it does in the book. And I really like that side of it. It was really cool. So it was good because it added another dynamic. It sort of built Batman's character a little bit more as well. This sort of young Batman character. And it all worked together really well to sort of change that. It was cool as well as to see how Two-Face gets his, well, Harvey Dent gets his coin, his two-headed coin. And that was new for this, but it was really cool how they did it. And there's an end credit scene. So after the credits roll, so stay tuned after the credits, there is an end credit scene with quite an important character who I imagine will be a lot more predominant in part 2, as this character is in the book. So the end credit scene was really cool. It added a completely new setting from the book, and the way that this character is introduced. Still sort of stayed with the same motives as the book, but in a different setting that the movie put it. But the end credit scene was really cool and was very much more of a teaser for the next movie than the actual end of the movie. But the movie does end in a really good place. I was quite impressed because obviously when you're reading the book just flows continually from the start to the finish. There's no sort of like midway point as such. But the movie does a very good job of sort of wrapping everything up. With just enough of a cliffhanger that you like, I need but 2, man. And then when they had the end credit scene, I was like, oh my god, I can't wait. So overall it was awesome. So yeah, just keep an eye out for the end credit scene. But overall, yeah, I was really impressed with it. I was genuinely impressed with it. I love the animated movies. I hope that part 2 retains the same quality as this. It kept me engaged throughout. It was very good. I mean, even though I know sort of in the books who the Holiday Killer is, whether that stays true for the movies, because they do have a tendency of changing these animated films up from the books just to keep the fans guessing. So obviously I believe I know who is the Holiday Killer, but it may turn out not to be that. This is something they did with Batman Hush. I love the Batman Hush book, but they changed the killer. And for the Hush film, I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. I enjoyed the film, but then with the reveal at the end, I just felt kind of deflated. So I'm hoping with Long Halloween they don't do that to me. that they actually sort of either give me what I want, which is the ending of the book, or make it so it's, I don't know, something good, a good ending, hopefully. We'll find out in July. So I think it drops on the 26th of July, part 2 releases. I already have it pre-ordered. Hopefully it'll come. And I'm also hoping that the faces line up when you line them up, because inside, so the slipcase, the Joker's nose is further over than it is the actual case. So I'm hoping the slipcase on part 2, which has got Two-Face on the front of it, is further over so we can put the two together and form like a cool Joker Two-Face picture. We'll see. Who knows? Also on this, there is a bit of a sneak peek on part 2 and special features, and there's also a short showcase. Short. It includes a DC showcase short for The Losers. Now, I don't know if anybody's seen the film The Losers, which stars Jeffrey Dean Morgan. It's got Idris Elba, Zoe Saldana, Chris Evans, Jason Patric in it. It released a few years ago now. A few years, like, what, 2008, I think, maybe? Maybe later than that, actually. Maybe 2012. I don't know, actually. It was a while ago, anyway. It was before Chris Evans was Captain America. But it is a DC movie. And it is an amazing movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. So when I saw The Losers on here, I was expecting to sort of see those characters. Some of the characters are the same. But it shows sort of a World War II era Losers. It's only like a 15-minute short. And I watched it. It was enjoyable. It was pretty cool, to be fair. I was just expecting to see the Losers from the film. But it was just nice that it was on there. So if you guys want to check the special features out, it is worth a watch. It's only 15 minutes. But there you go. So that was it, guys. That was my look at it. I do highly recommend it. If you do get a chance to check out all the DC animated movies, because they're all just incredible. They're really, really good. I really like the ones that they adapt. So sort of like This Long Halloween, the one like Hush, Batman Turtles, Dark Knight Returns, they did The Killing Joke. Again, like Under the Red Hood. I really like it when they do this, because it's nice to actually see your still images in motion. And so it's really cool to sort of see that side of it. I really like how they do that. Some of the standalone DC animated movies, again, are just phenomenal. They're just amazing. So it is highly recommended to check them out. If you are looking to watch this, I will leave a link in the description to buy it through Amazon, which is where I had it from. Just know that if you do click through that and purchase it, you are helping me out, so it's greatly appreciated, guys. If you enjoyed this video, drop me a like, subscribe to the channel for more latest content, follow me on Instagram for updates, and with that, guys, I'll catch you later.